Hello, welcome everyone. Today we are doing mock paper. If you want to access the printed version, the digital version that is available on website which is aciacademy.com, and every description is mentioned in the description box. So let me start with the first question. This is just the written format, but the whole printed one that you want to take out for a printout for the practice, that is there on the website. So question 1 says make x the subject. X squared minus 1 is equals to y squared plus 2. If you want to make x the subject, that means your main aim should be isolating x. And isolating x, that means this minus 1 is extra. So let me bring it here. So it's going to be x squared is equals to y squared plus 1 over 2 plus 1. Taking LCM, it will be x squared is equals to, here what, into 2 into 2. So it would be y squared plus 1 plus 2 over 2. X squared is equals to y squared plus 3 over 2. And x is equals to, finally, because you want to calculate x, you are making x the subject, not x squared the subject. So finally taking root y squared plus 3 over 2 will be your final answer. Next is the sum of n terms of a series is given by n squared plus 1 over 3. Find the third term of the series. See, this type of questions I have completed, like I have done in my main classes, like the live classes that I take, and I found that 98% of the student committed the same mistake. They actually calculate the third term by putting n is equals to 3. Now you might be thinking, what else we are supposed to do? See, it's not mentioned that this is the nth term of the series. This is sum of n terms of the series. That means this is first term, this is second term, and this is third term. So sum of, if you are putting n is equals to 3, it will give you the sum of, that means first plus second plus third. It will give you sum of starting 3 terms. That's the meaning of sum of n terms of a series. If you are putting n is equals to 1, you will get first term. If you are getting n is equals to 2, you will get the sum of first and second term. When you put n is equals to 3, you will get sum of first term, second term, and third term. So to get a first term, I need to put n is equals to 1, because sum of first term or first term is same, obviously. So putting 1, I'll get 1 plus 1 over 3, that is 2 over 3. I got first term. When I put n is equals to 2 in this, which will give me 5 over 3. 5 over 3 is not our second term. Instead, it's the sum of first term and second term is equals to 5 over 3. First term we have already calculated, which is 2 over 3. So second term will be 5 over 3 minus 2 over 3, which is 1. So second term is 1. Third term is put n is equals to 3, that will be 10 over 3. So 10 over 3 is the sum of first plus second plus third. So I can say 2 over 3 plus 1 plus the third term is equals to 10 over 3. So I can say third term will be 10 over 3 minus 5 over 3. Ultimately, we'll get 5 over 3. So final answer is 5 over 3 is the third term. Moving on to the third question. The ratio of A is to B is 3:2. The ratio of C is to D is 4:1. If the sum of A and C is twice the sum of B and D, then find the ratio of A, B, C and D. See, if ratio of A and B is given as 3:2, you can write it as A as 3x and B as 2x. Obviously, this is how we convert any ratio into a number. That means multiplying it with x. Similarly, for C and D, it's 4:1, but don't use x variable now because they are a separate entity. So that means you can use another variable. So for C, I can write 4y and D will be just y. So here I multiply y and y, here x and x, because there are two different separate ratios. That's why I used x for one and y for another. Now there is a relationship given that the sum of A plus C is twice B and D. That is, sum of A plus C is 2 times B plus D. Put the value A as 3x, C is 4y. Similarly, 2 times B is 2x and D is y. So this will be 3x plus 4y is equals to 4x plus 2y. Bringing all the similar variables on one side. So this one will give you negative x when I bring it here, and when I bring it here it will give me minus 2y, or x is equals to 2y. So there is a relationship between x and y we get to know. So now I can convert every number in terms of y because now I have a relationship between them. So when I substitute x as 2y here, so a is because 3x and now x is 2y, so 2y. So 3 into 2y is 6y. Similarly, b will become 4y. C is already 4y and D is y. So now we need to calculate ratio of A, B, C and D. Putting all the values, it's 6y, ratio 4y, ratio 4y, ratio 1. The only thing that is common among all them is y, cancelling it out. I got my final ratio as 6, ratio 4, ratio 4, ratio 1. Moving on to the next question. Find the area of this given figure. It's a combination of two different triangles. So we have to calculate the area of each triangle, add them up will give us the area of this given figure. So we have two different triangles. Let I name it because in this initial figure there is no naming, but we are labeling it. Let me say A, B, C, D and E. So I am taking triangle ABC first, and here triangle ADE. To calculate the area, I should know half times base times height. That means for both the triangles, I should know base and height. Base is what? Your adjacent. Let me focus on triangle ABC. For triangle ABC, I should know the base, which is adjacent, as well as height, which is opposite. But for this triangle, only one thing is known, that is angle. So we can't initiate our process from this triangle. Instead, we have to initiate from triangle EAD. Even I told you before as well that we always start with that triangle whose maximum parameters are known. Obviously, maximum parameter is for EAD because we know one angle as well as one side. Applying the trigonometric function here, first I need to label the side opposite to it is opposite. So opposite to angle is this one is opposite, and this one is the side opposite to 90 degrees hypotenuse. That means remaining is adjacent. Clearly calculating ED will give me nothing. Neither it will help me in calculating the triangle area, as well as it will not help me in finding the other side, because apart from finding the adjacent for the area of the triangle, it's also going to help me to calculate the other side, the side that is shared by both the triangles. So applying tan theta, because tan theta connects opposite and adjacent. So tan 30 degrees is opposite tan, adjacent is AD. Same on rearranging. In just previous question I have described how I rearranged it. Similarly, doing it, I'll get AD is equals to 10 over 10 30 degrees. And we just saw 10 over 10 30, it was 17.32. So 17.32. AD length is 17.32. I can calculate area. Area is half times base here AD. If you see this triangle in this way, clearly your base is AD. So half times base AD, that is 17.32, into height, that is 10. Answer is 86.6 centimeters squared. Now I need to calculate for ABC. We just saw at the beginning of this question that only one perimeter of ABC is known, which is the angle. But now we have hypotenuse as well. How? Because we have calculated AD. AD to be 17.32 and DC is already mentioned as 2. So I have this whole AC. AC is what? 17.32 plus the 2 centimeters which is already given in the question. Give me 19.32 centimeters. If I focus on this triangle only ABC, I have one angle and hypotenuse. What I need? I need to calculate base and height, that is opposite and adjacent both. So let me apply both trigonometric functions one by one. That means if this is my angle, side opposite to this angle is opposite, side connected to this side is adjacent. So applying sine theta, so sine 40 is opposite, which is BC, over hypotenuse. Hypotenuse is AC that we just calculated, 19.32. So BC is sine 40 into 19.32. Similarly, I can calculate adjacent, which is AB, by applying cos theta. So cos 40 degrees is adjacent AB over hypotenuse, that is 19.32. AB is cos 40 degrees. On cross multiplying, I'll get AB is equals to cos 40 into 19.32. So BC is 12.41 and this one will give me 14.79 or 14.8. We now have adjacent as well as opposite. That means base and height I have both. I can calculate the area of this triangle ABC, which is half times base is we calculated as 14.79 or I can say 14.8 into height, which is 12.41. This will give me 142.968. We need to calculate the area of this whole figure. That means adding up the both areas. So 86.6 plus 142.968 will give 229.56. 229.568 or 57 centimeter squared is the required area. In question 5, we have a table given and the frequency is given after every interval. It says the table gives information about the time taken in seconds by 30 workers to finish a given work. Work out an estimate for the mean and give your answer correct to 2 decimal place. We have to estimate the mean. So in that case, what we first have to do is find the midpoint. This is a way to calculate any mean if it's given in a tabular form. So first thing is, I'm just making a column right here to get a better. Okay, I can't make a table here unfortunately, so I'm just writing down everything here. So first thing would be finding the midpoint. So 0 to 20, the midpoint is 10 obviously, or even if you are not able to get it, it's just add the two end points and divide by 2. That means 20 plus 0 over 2 will give you the midpoint. Similarly, midpoint of 40 and 20 is 30. For 40 and 60 is 50. For the 70 and here 90. Then we have to make a column of midpoint, which is x, and frequency, which is f, that is fx. We need to multiply the midpoints and the frequency corresponding to it. So 10 into 7 is 70. 6 into 3 is 180. 50 into 8 is 400. 70 into 5 is 350. And 90 into 4 is 360. The formula to calculate the total or the estimation of mean is sum of all f into x over sum of all f. If I add these up, I'll get the answer as 30, and here also given that 30 workers. That means clearly if you add them up, you'll get 30 as the answer. So it would be 70, we need to add them up. 70 plus 180, whatever fx we have calculated, that is the frequency multiplied by the midpoint, we need to add them up. This row, I need to add them up. 70 plus 180 plus 400 plus 350 plus 360 over total frequency, which is 30. Answer is 45.33 recurring. So instead I am just writing 45.33. That's it. Even if you want, you can just put recurring there. Else it would be like, because they are asking to tell two decimal place, so I think not necessarily we can write answer like this. Why this is, though it's not asked in the question, but they can, like, they can give it in part A, and part B they can ask that why it's an estimation. So it's not because we are getting a decimal value, because I have heard sometimes from a student that okay, the answer is a decimal one and that's why it's an estimation. No, estimation is because we are calculating the mean, but we don't know the data exactly. That means we know there are 7 workers that are taking time in between 0 to 20, but we have no idea what exactly time is taken by each worker. I don't know. It can be one is taking 2 seconds, another is taking 10 seconds, another is taking 15 seconds. We have only a range. We don't have a particular value, and this is the reason this is an estimation of mean. Moving on to the next question. A car has covered a certain distance from A to B in 2 hours with a speed of 22 km per hour. From B to C in 3 hours with a speed of 30 km per hour. From C to D 4 hours with a speed of 40 km per hour. Find the average speed. Don't do this kind of mistake that adding 22 plus 30 plus 40 and divided by 3. They are not asking you to calculate mean. They are asking you to calculate average. Okay, now you would be thinking, what's the difference between average and mean? Mean is when you add all the things and divide by the number, whereas averages are 3 types: mean, median, mode. So that's why mean is a type of average, but average is not a type of mean. I mean, wherever you see average, that doesn't mean it is a mean they are talking about. To calculate the average speed, formula is total distance covered over total time taken. So this is the formula that I'm writing here. Average speed is total distance over total time taken. So total distance, we first have to calculate total distance because we have no idea of the distance. We know that speed is equals to distance over time. That means distance would be speed into time, and we have to calculate distance for each. That means let me calculate the distance when car moved from A to B. It moved in 2 hours with a speed of 22 km per hour. That means I just need to multiply them together to get the distance. So 22 into 2 is 44. So 44 kilometer is the distance. From moving B to C in 3 hours, its speed is 30 into 3. 30 into 3, which is 90 kilometers. Then from C to D with a speed of 40 km per hour in 4 hours. So 40 into 4, which is 160 kilometers. So now I have the total distance. Total distance is 44 plus 90 plus 160. And over the total time taken. Total time taken is 2 hour plus 3 hour plus 4 hour. This one will be 294 over 9. That will give me answer as 32.6666 recurring. So I can write it at 32.67. Kilometers per hour is the average speed. Here the question says the ratio of length to width to height is given as 1:2:1 in a cuboid. If the volume of cuboid is 54 centimeter cube, then we have to calculate the length of the diagonal. And obviously to calculate the length of the diagonal, the first thing we have to go through is finding the length. Finding each length, that means the ratio is already given. So I would be saying length is x, width is 2x, and height is x. Now we have to calculate the volume. So volume is multiplying all of them together, that is length, width and height. Length, width and height, which is x times 2x times x. This is 2x cubed. We know the volume is already given as 54 centimeter cubed. So I just need to equate 2x cubed is equals to 54. From here x cubed is equals to 27 and x is cube root of 27, which will be 3. So if the value of x is 3, I can calculate length as 3, width is 2x, so 3 into 2 is 6, and height is x, which is 3. Now let me see, they have given length as 3, width as 6 and height as 3. To calculate the diagonal, this is the diagonal, this one, this is a diagonal. That means it's joining, not perfectly I can join this one, this is. So this is connecting, that means if you see your room, your front right side, the front bottom right corner, okay, if you are sitting in a room, see the front wall, see the bottom one and the right corner, and then see the wall that is behind you, the left upper corner. If you join them together, you will get a diagonal of a cuboid. So that we are calculating. Obviously, for that I need a triangle like this one here. So I'm drawing that triangle separately to give a better idea what exactly triangle we have selected. So that means this is A, this is F, and this is H. A to F we have to A to H we have to calculate, because this is the diagonal of the cuboid as well as the hypotenuse of this right angle triangle. HF is the height, and which is 3, and AF, which is the diagonal of the bottom base ABFE, that we have to calculate. Now see this one, ABFE. This is ABFE. ABFE. Obviously, because this is a, let me say like this, ABFE. This is the bottom of the cuboid, and obviously the bottom of the cuboid is a rectangle. So same rectangle is there, and we are calculating A to F. That means clearly A to F is a diagonal of this rectangle. So we know what is this. It's a right angle triangle, and we are supposed to find the hypotenuse. A to E is the length, that is 3. A to A is 3. E to F here is 6, so I can say E to F is 6. So this would be root of 3 squared plus 6 squared. I'm not solving it as of now, leaving it like that. That means 636 plus 9. That's all I'm just doing as of now, which is root 45. So I get to know A to F is root 45. So I got A to F as root 45. This is 3. Now I need to apply Pythagoras theorem in first triangle, that is in AHF. It's not that messier. If you even if you're thinking what is this, you can go over the second time. I would say that like by the second time you'll be able to get this one. So AHF, I am applying Pythagoras theorem. So AH squared is equals to AF squared plus HF squared. So AH squared is equals to AF is root 45, and square of root 45 is just 45. HF is 3, square of 3 is 9. So this will give you 54. And finally AH is root 54. So what is the length of diagonal? The diagonal is root 54. It's totally fine if you're not simplifying it, and if you want to, you can do that as well. So this is root 54, and because this is basically a calculator paper, so obviously you can find the root of 54 as well. Moving on to the part 2, calculate the angle between CF and the plane ABEF. Okay, now just deleting this one. It says calculate the angle between CF. So first draw what is CF. CF is this, which is actually another diagonal of this cuboid. And we know that all the lengths of the cuboid is same. There are 4 diagonals of a cuboid and they all have the same length. So if we have calculate AH as root 54, that means CF is also 54 by default, root 54. Calculate the angle between CF and plane ABEF. Plane ABEF, that means this one. whenever they are asking about to calculate the angle of a line and a plane, so you are supposed to form a triangle and you have to select the diagonal of that plane. Again, I'll be repeating, angle between CF. Obviously, we are more into habit of finding angle between two lines instead of plane and a line. Whenever they are talking about a plane, so that means you have to draw the diagonal of that plane. So for ABEF, the diagonal is AF. Now you can clearly understand they're talking about this triangle and this angle. So this right angle will help you in calculating the angle. So ultimately they are asking you to calculate between CF and the diagonal AF, because the representative of that plane is the diagonal AF, and between that is theta. We know two values clearly, even we know every value of this triangle. CA is height, which is 3, and AF we have calculated as root 45, so I can take that as well, or CF we have calculated root 54, so whatever you want to take. Let me take root 45 here. So obviously this is opposite, as CA is opposite to this angle, and AF is adjacent because that angle, that side is connected with that angle. So I'll apply tan theta. So tan theta is opposite over adjacent. Opposite is 3, adjacent is root 45. Now from here I'll apply theta is equals to tan inverse root of 3 over root 45. This will give me answer as 24.09419, so on. So I'm just writing it to one decimal place only. So 24.1 degrees is the angle between the CF and the plane ABEF. There is third as well. M is the midpoint of AE. If we cut this cuboid along GM, find the volume of the prism GHEFH. Okay, M is the midpoint of A. Okay, now I just need to delete this again. Right. So M is the midpoint of AE. This is AE. So M is the midpoint that should lie here. If we cut this cuboid along GH that means, GM, G to M, this one. If we are cutting this along, what will it be? So to understand it, if I cut it, it will look like this one. Let me remove this. See, you have cut it along this. So in return, what you got, this is a trapeze. This is a prism that you got, a right triangular prism. So the front and the bottom face is a right angle and the other sides are a rectangle. So simple, what we have to do to find the volume, area of the face multiplied by the length. So let me find. So let me just draw that prism. It was a right angled prism that we got like this. So we have to calculate the area of this face. So volume of a prism is area of face multiplied by the length. Area of face is half times base times base is, if I'm joining this together, base would be half of AE. Length is 3, half of AE, that is half of 3, which will be 1.5. So this would be 1.5. Height is 3. So finally, it would be half times 1.5 into 3 into length. Length, that means up to which it has a stretch. That means ultimately they are talking about width. This is width. So width is 6 centimeters into 6. This will give you the volume of this prism. Finally, answer is 13.5 centimeter cubed. Moving on to the question number 8. Y is inversely proportional to x squared and x is directly proportional to z cubed if x is equals to 3 and y is equals to 2 and x is equals to 24 and this one is z and z is equals to 2. Find an equation of y in terms of z. Okay, so they have given relationship between y and x squared. So y is inversely proportional to x squared. That means y is equals to k over x squared. We have to introduce constant up there. They have given that when x is 3, y is 2 to get the value of constant. So when x is 3, that means k over 3 squared is 9, y is 2. From here I get k is equals to 18. So my final equation is y is equals to replacing k with 18 over x squared. This is my first equation, which is in terms of y and x squared. Second given is x is directly proportional to z cube. So this was the first part, then this is the second part. X is directly proportional to z cubed. That means x is equals to kz cubed. And if x is equals to kz cubed, we have the value x is 24 when z is 2. So cube of 2 is 8. 8k. From here I'll get k is equals to 3. So final equation, here I'll replace k with 3. It would be x is equals to 3z cubed. So we have two different equations here. I'm solving down below in place of I. We have y, we have one equation in y and x squared, another in x and z. We have to find the equation of y in terms of z. That means just remove x squared. So in place of x is what? 3z cubed. So I'm just replacing x with 3z cubed. That's all I'm doing. I'm just substituting one equation into another. So y is equals to 18. Whatever we want to remove, that value we substitute. So x we don't want in our final equation. So that's why I'm substituting the value of x so that we can permanently eliminate it. X is 3z cube from second equation. So 3z cube whole to the power of square. That is y is equals to 18 over 9z to the power of 6. Simplifying, I'll get y is equals to 2 over z to the power of 6. That's the final equation in terms of y and z. Part second says value of y when z is 6. So put the value of z. Y is equals to 2 over 6 to the power of 6. A quadratic equation is given as y is equals to x squared minus 8x minus 2. Write the equation in the form of a times x plus b whole squared plus c. This is a completing square method. And what we need to do, if you have seen my videos previously, the best way I think is equate the middle part with a. That means the coefficient of middle is negative 8. So equate this to 2a, sorry, not a, equated to 2a is equals to negative 4. Now replace this value because we want x plus a whole squared. So replace a with negative 4 because we have calculated negative 4 here, and expand this. You'll get x squared minus 8x plus 16. Write down your original equation, which is x squared minus 8x minus 2, and then replace it. Ultimately what we are doing here, we are just writing the original equation and adding, subtracting, whatever you want to do, addition, subtraction, just do it here in your original equation. So if I check it, x squared same, minus 8x same, only 16 is required. So I said whatever you're adding or subtracting, do it in your original equation. That means I need to add the extra one which is not there in your equation, in your original equation. We need to add there up. So 16 I'll add. If I'm adding 16, I'll subtract 16 as well. Then on rearranging, I can write x squared minus 8x plus 16 minus 2 minus 16. Only minus 2 and plus 16, I swapped it, that's it. So x squared minus 8x plus 16 can be written as x minus 4 whole squared. So this will be x minus 4 whole squared, and minus 2 minus 16 is minus 18, and clearly we have converted into this form. That was a simple one. Hence find the roots of the given answer. This is equals to y. Whenever we find the root, we equate y to 0 because roots means the curve. We are talking about those points when the curve passes through x-axis, and on x-axis y is always 0. This is why we have to replace y with 0. That means here I will put 0. So x minus 4 whole squared minus 18 is equals to 0. So x minus 4 whole squared, bring it there, 18. Taking root to both sides, you will get plus 18. and second would be minus root 18. So from here you'll get x1 as root 18 plus 4 and x2 as negative root 18 plus 4. That's it. And because they're asking you to give answer in a third form, so we'll leave it like that. Write down the turning points of this equation. Once we have reached here, the algebraic way to solve to find the turning point of a quadratics is completing square method. Once you have converted into this format, then minus b comma c would be your turning point. We have converted into this one, then minus b comma c would be turning point. So minus b comma c, we have seen that a is 1, b is negative 4 and c is negative 18. So negative 4. Don't write negative 4 because b is already negative and your answer is negative 4. So the turning points are 4 comma negative 18. A graph y is equals to fx is transformed to give the graph with equation y is equals to f times x minus 3 plus 2. So if point 1 comma 3 is on y equals fx, then what will be the coordinates of mapped point? So first you should know that what all transformation it is undergoing. So simple, what transformation is it undergoing? First on x-axis, then on y-axis. That means if it's written y is equals to fx minus 3, that means it is about fx minus a. Simple, if it's written inside that f bracket with x, the transformation is happening in x direction. It's negative a. If it's negative 3, you have to work opposite. That means negative 3 is something you're translating it. If something is written in addition, subtraction with x, in this format, this is a translation. Translation, you are moving that particular graph. So a is, if I'm going to compare this, a is 3. This is the standard format of translation. Fx minus a. A represents in which direction you are translating. If I'm going to compare, I'll get a is equals to 3. That means I am translating a 3 units in positive direction. So that means the point 1 will be, it represents translating graph 3 units in positive x direction. So point 1 comma 3 will become definitely 1 plus 3 comma 3, that is 4 comma 3. Second thing is plus 2 is written. So if it's fx plus a, it means translation a units in y direction. So if I'm going to compare it, I get to know that a is 2 here. In this question, a is 2. So we are translating y coordinate in positive 2 or positive y direction by 2. So now our value was 4 comma 3. So translate 3 to 2 side. Finally, it will be 4 comma 5. Let me explain it once again. If your equation is in a form of fx inside the bracket, like this, inside the bracket, fx minus a, that means a is the point to which you're translating only your x coordinates. So if I'm going to compare, I'll get a as 3. That means whatever the points, the whole curve, you are translating it in positive 3 direction, or positive the unit 3 direction. Whereas if it's fx plus 2, here, right, fx after it plus a, that means you're translating it in a direction, but in y direction. If I'm gonna compare, I'll get this is fx plus 2. Fx plus 2 represents that you are translating in positive to y, okay, in y direction, positive 2. So your point will become 3 plus 2, that is 5. So finally the points will be 4 comma 5. So I think that's it for today. This paper is half done. The remaining paper will be doing in the next class. And also If you want to enroll yourself for the crash course that I'm running, as well as for the doubt sessions, only the doubt classes where you can ask any doubts, or even it can be just for 1 day, for 1 hour, for those, or for the new session from year 1 to 13 for all subjects, just email us at exactacademy@gmail.com. So that's it for today. Thank you. Have a great day.